And with that, a warm welcome. New location, or rather, a different location today. We are going to test together today whether the new Microfiber Extension Mop from chemicalworkz fits into the picture at all. And here is the packaging. Really nice, a lot of content inside. This part is ideal for caravans, trailers, and all vehicles that are a bit taller, including minibuses. Today, we will take a look at Peter's motorhome. He is already doing the pre-cleaning up front. Let's unpack this together in the hall first. I'll show you how it works and what's inside. In 2021, we'll see each other again here at the box, and Peter will test this for all of us. I'll also lend a hand because I believe this could be a really nice thing for all the caravan owners. It's a really nice tool. Let's get started. Let's take a closer look at the packaging and the entire contents of the Microfiber Extension Mop kits here. You can already see here the design has turned out really well. The box looks super high quality and feels high quality as well. You can already see on the front what is inside. Here's the extension with the sign in front, Use Sand, and you can already see 2 microfiber covers. Once the classic chenille fiber with these little noodles, and here a very soft microfiber that we also know from the wash mitts. So I really have to say, the design team around Simon has created something truly, really beautiful here. Super high quality packaging. Otherwise, we can open the part here now and take a look together. Open the 2 flaps at the top, and then we have everything unpacked and opened. Here you can see the complete contents. I will take everything out. Here is the chenille cover. Here is the microfiber cover with green turquoise white tone. And then we also have the plate and the rod, which we can, of course, adjust in length. Let's do that right now. I'll unpack everything. The quality of the processing is really 2001. I'm seeing this for the first time with you all here. Really very nicely made. Here is a rubberized handle, very soft. Let's start here with the rod. Up here is also a slightly harder grip, which allows for a really good hold. There is also a thumb rest up here. So a lot has really been thought out here. Up here is the thumb rest, so you can hold it like this. And where the index finger is, you also have a textured surface. So it's really not just a round cylinder, but it's well designed to provide a tactile feedback, allowing you to hold it securely in your hand. And here at the front is the soft grip for the left hand. Now here in my version as a right-handed person, but we can also use it the other way around. It works just the same because the spots are also in the right position. Then let's assemble it before attaching the head. It is also individually packaged to prevent any transport damage. So it is really very well made. We can place this in, and then we simply attach this here at the front. If you want to connect it, press the button a little, and then everything is already connected here. And if you want to disconnect it, just press the button and pull it off. Perfect. So let's just assemble this here. You simply take the narrow side and insert it into the pad, pressing it firmly into the corners, then fold one corner over and then the other corner over. It fits really nicely, tight and compact. You also need to pull it a bit over here because it shouldn't wobble back and forth. And then yes, sitting is always a bit of a challenge. You have these 2 wings here, as mentioned, and you can either click here or just climb on the other side. Simply place it here, hold it a bit, and press the other side against it so that the line here is nice and straight, not slanted, or open in any way. It needs to be properly sealed, and then it will also smooth out against each other. And to remove it again, you simply pull off the Velcro here, and can then take it out. So, there are 2 Velcro areas. Now, this is really super tight. I don't even know if these Velcro areas are necessary at all. It's just an additional safety feature to ensure that this is nicely closed at the top. And now it's ready for use. Up here, you have a little tab to hang it on the wall, maybe in your garage or in your carport. So a lot of thought has really gone into many things. Now let's open the closure here to extend it a bit more. To do this, simply fold this outwards, and now we can fully extend it. And with that, we have a considerable length and can now really handle it nicely up high at the SB box. And we also have a very nice lightweight option. I find the aluminum here to be really super light. Well, I believe that even after several minutes, and if you wash the vehicle for 20 minutes, you won't run out of strength because it is really very stable and yet very light. So I really like that. So here you can see again how Peter usually cleans his vehicle with the foam brush that is available on site. Then he goes over the entire area with the foam brush. You can do it this way. It's up to each person how gently they want to clean such a vehicle. But today, I will show you a variant of how you might do this a bit more gently, depending on the effort you want to put in. And now, let's unpack the mob together. But I just wanted to film a little bit how he usually cleans it. And I think many caravan owners will recognize themselves here at such a self-service box. And now let's take a look at how we can do this a bit differently, more gently, and perhaps a little more precisely without having to constantly keep this foam brushing program active, because otherwise the water supply will eventually stop. And then, I think, for such a large vehicle, you could easily spend around $3 or $4 or $5. Yes, and the other variant looks like this. We will fill a bucket with water here. I have added a bit of the new shampoo devil into the wash bucket. You can already see it is foaming endlessly. Here in the self-service box, we have the slight disadvantage that we don't have a sink, so we have to fill it using the lance. Or you might bring something from home. Maybe get a bucket with a screw lid, and then you can prepare it at home. Here we simply have the disadvantage that we have to fill it with the lance. So, now the tactic with the wash bucket, without having to constantly start a new program with the brush, and we don't need the brush anymore, because we're going to unpack the item, and Peter will wash with it and give us a bit of his feedback. So, let's take a look at it. I also leave the entire topic to Peter here. You just need to insert the extension pole at the front. You see also over there where the small knob part is, push it in, connect it, and now you can extend it here. Just unfold it and stretch the spot. Right. We now have the chenille cover on, and with that you go into the wash once, and then we'll take a look at how that can be done as well. 2001. So what you can clearly see here is that you can easily reach high with the range. Peter will then give us his feedback. I'll attach the microphone to him again because right now you can't really understand him. So this is just the first impression of the washing. So you can definitely see that you can easily reach up high. It has a nice handling. The pole is not too long, not too bulky, so you won't get stuck here. 2001, depending on how much space you have available in total, but it works very, very well. And afterwards, you then go to an area of 2 by 3 meters. So depending on the situation, you simply go into the wash bucket, rinse it out a bit at the front, and now you don't have to constantly throw in €1 or €0.50 or any tokens to keep the foam brush going. Instead, you just wash with the items that are available on site. If you are not allowed to use your own products here, then just fill the pre-cleaner a little bit first. The main wash program includes shampoo, and then you fill it up with rinse aid, and you can also work with the chemicals available on site. This way you can perfectly go around the vehicle. And then I can also say, okay, you first wash just this side here, and then you rinse it completely with the rinse aid, and then you go, for example, to the other side. Today we have a cloudy day, so it's actually ideal that nothing dries unnecessarily here. But you see, I think Peter is handling it quite well. We'll get his feedback again shortly. I'm going to go to the other side so that we can see it more clearly.
So he is already being positive here.
I'll give you the microphone again so you can really judge it properly, because right now we can't hear you very well. But you can see nicely here how it works in terms of handling, and from a distance, it looks good at first.
So right now, washing with this device is much, much better because it is more economical and you have no stress, as the clock runs constantly at 1,000, and it is also nicer and gentler. So it's a good idea to work with this thing.
What do you say about the weight?
No, great, that is great. So now I would try up there where I have never been able to reach, and the system has indeed failed here. You can almost reach everywhere, but I would also take the ladder .
But it seems to be coming everywhere.
That's fantastic. It appears to be in excellent condition almost everywhere you look. Indeed, it seems to be quite impressive and satisfactory. And here you could also work with the fly spray at the top. It is really much more economical, and you simply have more time and peace when you work with the wash bucket and the mop. The spraying and such, you do that later here with the one from here, then it's easy, but the washing itself really works great with the mop.
The only thing is, you have to always take the wash bucket with you. You have to go to one side and then place it in front as a central point, and then you set it down on the left. So, while Peter is now pre-cleaning on this side with the main wash program, we can just grab the wash bucket again. I hope this works with one hand. 1000 camera has to walk around. Here a bit now. It's not so easy with the camera. So, 1000 or so perhaps. So you see, it can also be stored this way in terms of weight distribution. This is also the reason. The rod is very, very sturdy. The aluminum is quite lightweight and it will not tip down here. You can also place it underneath and let the bucket hang in this way. But it can also be stored nicely here. Peter will be around again with the spraying, and then he will go over it again with the extension mop. And you have already received some of his feedback. So he is definitely satisfied with the matter, and I think I will leave that to him as well. First of all, as a thank you for the time spent on the video. And I think he will be very happy that he can use such a tool for his motorhome here. Yes, and also here with a motorhome, just make sure that the cleaners do not dry on you. This applies equally to regular vehicles, regular cars. You really have to pay attention here. Now the sun is even coming out a bit. So make sure that we don't let anything dry on the unpainted plastics. But that looks very, very good. And if you also have mild cleaners like the ones we used here, nothing will happen at all. It works very, very well. Just be a little careful with the hose here. It can't always be avoided 100%. You just have to practice a bit. I'm going to show you here now, without us discussing anything beforehand, because that's just the reality. So here, you just have to let them know later to be a little careful with the high pressure cleaner hose, which can sometimes be a bit in the way. 2001. So those are just the things you have to deal with. And that's why, if Peter wants, I will involve him a bit in this topic. But it's also ideal to see how to clean such a vehicle, or how most people do it. You can also see nicely that the cover absorbs a lot of water. And if you clean the vehicle a bit beforehand, or do a pre-cleaning, then you also have moisture on it. You can now apply pre-cleaner, or in this case, the insect remover. I wouldn't spray the entire side with insect remover. Instead, I would work with a pre-cleaner or use the pre-wash program that is always available on site for you. Then you can work really nicely with it. When you are down there, Peter, where there is a lot of dirt, you just go right in. There is a dirt sieve at the bottom where you can really stomp down. Exactly. And then you can take it out again and it will have fresh water. Exactly. Give him a bit of technique, start from the top and work your way down. You can divide it a little. First, focus on the area around the first sliding door and the shape towards the entry area. And then you take the large area here, maybe distribute it a bit more. So you can also divide it a little for your vehicle as you like. But here you can really see how just through this mechanical wash, it looks really nice. Look, Peter, you will never get this off with a normal wash. Here, this is what is called road, track film, traffic film in English. And over here, there is nothing left. It's completely like if we do it over here. This prevents a dark crust from forming, and that can only be removed with mechanical washing. So just spray it down and rinse it off. Over time, your motorhome will eventually take on a slight grey color. Therefore, it is very important to also use a mechanical cleaning method, gently going over it like this. We will then do the back with the other microfiber attachment. Let's switch that briefly. Peter is now finishing up this side with it. Then he rinses everything off here with clear rinse. After that, we will go to the rear section and then we will be done with this. The main focus of this video today is to test this extension mob for you. And what could be better than having someone test it who has to deal with such a vehicle every time and can then give us their feedback on it. But as you can see here, he is not struggling. It is not slipping out of his hand. And I also believe that condition-wise, you are not necessarily at the end, unless you do it maybe at 30 degrees in the sun. But otherwise, it actually looks very smooth. And now he goes down along and then rinses it out nicely again. You simply have the potential to minimize unnecessary scratches. With white, you don't see those scratches as much, but we always have to see everything in relation. You don't have to provoke it unnecessarily when you have the chance to wash with such a technique. And I believe maybe you agree with me as well. Feel free to write it down below, especially now to all the motorhome owners, caravanners, and everything that goes with it. What do you think of the method? What do you think of the technique? Are you always out and about with this foam brush, having to constantly put in more money? Or do you just throw in $5 here and then quickly run around the vehicle? How do you do it? Or do you perhaps say that this is a technique that can be used sometimes because here you simply have much more peace? You don't have the stress of the timer running here, as Peter already mentioned. And I think it actually looks good. So, now rinse it off. This one has a slightly different fiber, a bit more absorbent and softer. Wet it now. Exactly. You can make it just as wet again. So, the same handling as before. You can then say in the conclusion whether it glides differently or not, but only after you have the microphone. First of all, here's a brief impression for you to see if it feels any different in terms of friction, because the handling is the same as you can see here. That's the nice thing about it. You simply have the choice of whether you want to use chenille or this fiber, and the good thing is, if for example, one cover is dirty from the last wash and you forgot to wash it, you still have a second cover that you can use to wash just as well. So just the fact that this set includes the interchangeable feature or that it comes as a two-piece set is great. And I also think that in the long term, it will be available for repurchase. I'm quite certain of that. And in 21, we will also test whether we can pull the chemical box brush cover over this. We will do that in a later video. I definitely want to try that out as well. But you can see here that the handling is absolutely fine for drying such a vehicle, especially for these large areas that are completely unsealed. Now in his case, a dry blade is simply the best thing one can use. You simply go over these large areas with the dry blade and remove all the water. And you can see what is already dripping down here. When you go over it, what water is already dripping down. But I think I can skip that for now, because Peter is still diligently removing the remaining shampoo residues. And then he can start the drying process here with a blade and a 40 by 40 drying cloth, because I don't have a large one with me. A small one should be enough. So this is Peter's first time using a dry blade on the vehicle. And he needs to find his technique a bit, but you can see it's already working very, very well. For the finer details, you could also take the small one in your left hand, for example. I will link it for you below as well. But this is just another option regarding the drying topic, to pre-dry the large water areas a bit, so that you can then simply dry the rest with the towel using the drying cloth. You could also work with a drying cloth like that now, but then you would definitely need 6, 7, I don't know, maybe 8 cloths for the vehicle. That's why the option is simply to use a dry blade to remove the bulk of the water first and then just dry the rest with a drying cloth. Let's go over there now. So you can see here, it really works very, very well. You can definitely use something like this perfectly. It's just a matter of practice with such a plate regarding posture and technique, where to start, so that you don't keep running back and forth and first go up and then down. And Peter is currently practicing a bit with this topic, but you can already see that after a few wiping actions, he has found his routine. So that works. Now just go over it again with the cloth. This will also remove any last remnants. You can now also use a larger cloth. You can see here with Peter that you have to work on quite large areas, but you can really remove a lot of water from the paint beforehand with a dry blade, leaving only the small remnants. And a cloth measuring 40 by 40, maybe 2 small cloths, or an 80 by 50, should actually be more than enough for the remaining water that's on here.
So we are now finished. The car is clean, and I have to say, it has never been as clean as it is today. And the next care I will do with the tool, and it's worth it, firstly for the quality, and secondly, you simply save a ton of money. If you constantly have to feed this device, it ends up costing much, much more money and results in lower quality. So it is an investment that will really be worth it.
Or Sebastian, what do you say?
Great.
So Peter, and because it worked so well with you today, I would like to present you with this mop to hand it over to you, so that you have it for the future, because you have such a wonderful vehicle for it. That means you can essentially take this with you in your washing equipment now and simply continue to use it in the future. That's nice, thank you for that. Well, and now to a conclusion here for the chemicalworkz extension mop in both variants. Let's do this right here with the camera setup, so you can write your opinions down. Especially now, this goes out to all the caravan owners. I believe that this is a really nice tool for you out there, especially whether it's specifically for your Ford Cabra or VW Polo Usand, which might not be the right group, but for the minibus driving away back there or the caravan, I think it is really, really well suited. You have several advantages. First, you don't always have to follow this program. You don't have to chase after the program with this foam brush. The next point is the foam brush itself. Even if it is dirty, you end up putting unnecessary micro scratches into the paint. You are also freer in terms of time, and you have more space. You don't have a cable or a hose that you have to drag behind you, which can bump into the car. So the advantages, I see very, very many advantages. Feel free to write to me below. You have the stick with you. You have the 2 covers with you. And this was basically the first test for me and for Peter. I haven't used the part before in any way, and I really have to say that overall, the stability is good, the workmanship is good, and you saw the handling with Peter. I believe this will definitely be a nice thing, and I also think that a price around 40 is absolutely reasonable. And with that, we wish you a really nice day. We are now finishing drying the rest here, and wish you a pleasant rest of the day. Bye everyone.